Hello and welcome to the Turn Zero podcast, hosted by Snapkeep. This is the show before the show where we talk about Magic the Gathering. Today, we are going to be talking about Aether Drift and the accompanying commander decks, kind of looking at the new mechanics, things to be excited about, and just like cards that we're generally really excited for, commanders that we're thinking about building, and then cards that we are actually going to be putting into our decks.
Putting the money where the mouth is.
Bro said Aether Drift.
Yeah, so I say it the right way. I say Aether Drift, and these blokes say Aether Drift.
Aether Drift. It starts with an A.
Ether. Ether.
So we got some new set mechanics, particularly start your engines and exhaust. So first let's talk a little bit about those mechanics, how we see them fitting into Commander, and we'll just kind of hit on them really quick before we get into the juicy bit, which is the actual cards. So first up is start your engines. So when you play a card with start your engines, then it triggers an ability that says if you have no speed, it starts at 1, and it increases once each turn when your opponent loses life. Max speed is 4. So any of your opponents can lose life, but it can only go up by 1 per turn.
Yes. Yeah. That counts. Doesn't have to be combat damage. It can be a drain. It can be a bloodthirst effect. It can be a ping.
Yeah, very similar to like day and night type stuff, but once you get to 4, you're like done.
Yeah,
and
you're
it
done
can
with
be
it.
like damage they do to themselves too.
True. Yeah.
Like if your opponent taps Ancient Tomb on your turn, we're going up, baby.
Yeah, cracks a fetch land.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Or a Phyrexian
Arena.
Arena.
Phyrexian Arena.
You get a little bit quicker.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I think in general, this is a little bit of a hard one to place in Commander because unless your deck really cares about it, it's going to be coming on really late. Or you play really low drops. So like some of the lands that are really easy to proc it means that you might get it. Or if your commander has the max or the start your engines ability, then
Yeah, so you don't get start your engines until you play a start your engines card.
Yeah.
And those are pretty few and far between considering there's so few of them in this set already. So you're looking, once you have max speed, it's kind of easier to get it than you think because we've done the pre-release, so we kind of know how it is in a 1v1 format. Commander is still up in the air of how max speed is going to figure it out.
For the record, there are 40 Start Your Engines cards, which is more than I thought there were.
but still very small in terms of like.
Yeah, the grand scheme of Magic.
You're not including 40 start your engines.
You can't run them all.
Yeah, I think one of the most interesting parts about max speed is like it's on your turn.
Yeah.
Right?
And your turn only.
Yeah. So like it's very easy if only one player at the table is playing with a start your engines card. It's very easily to wait to crack your fetch land or do anything if you're playing a little intelligently, right? You know?
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of like quest counters on like Bloodchief's Ascension and Luminarch's Ascension. It's like once you have this thing, your cards do an additional thing instead of being do nothing enchantments. They actually do the thing they advertise to. But speed, persists after the creature is gone or after.
Like
you start
City's
your
Blessing.
engine. Yeah,
you
a little bit.
forget about it, and then you're like, oh, I draw my max speed card. I have max speed.
Yeah. But as far as like relying on max speed cards in the 99, I think your commander has to care about it.
They're cute throw-ins, not build-arounds yet, I think.
Yeah, I think like initiative is kind of how I'm seeing it. It's like it'll come up every
true.
now and then, but not like all the time.
Yeah.
And almost in the same way where like max speed comes up about as often as like so long as you've finished a dungeon.
Yeah.
Those feel very
similar. Yeah. Something I do like over it, without going too much into the topic, but something I do like over initiative is that it encourages combat without having this thing that gets passed around. Because like if you build your entire deck around initiative, or if you build your entire deck around Monarch, then you're encouraging people to hit the crap out of you.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, or whoever has it, which ideally, if your deck's built around it, it's
you should have it.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. But anyway, we got another mechanic, which is Exhaust. Nice and simple ability. So creatures or cards with Exhaust means that that ability can only be activated once per instance of the card. So if it's that instance of the card, it's that time you cast it, then you only get it one time. Now there's obvious ways to get around it that have been talked about ad litem, which is blinking,
blink copy clones.
Yeah.
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 And
aristocrats type stuff.
there is a green card coming out in Aether Drift that lets you activate exhaust abilities as though they haven't been activated, so long as you haven't activated an exhaust ability this turn.
Yeah, Elvish Refueler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's exhaust. I think it's fine.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one. That one's
Honestly-
very much more tantalizing because you can only activate it once, so the abilities are slightly more pushed.
Oh,
I thought
See
it
loot.
already existed without a name. Like,
yeah.
like I
Kinda.
saw it and I was like, no, like that's already a keyword. Like they're just changing it to exhaust, and I was wrong.
Most things are light kicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard what MTG Goldfish call it, kicker for permanents already on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, oh boy.
I think in a weird psychological
Delayed
way, it's
kicker.
almost more palatable to me than like abilities that say you can only do this once per turn. It's like if you give me a really big effect
per
that I
game,
can only do
yeah.
once, like it's a little bit more palatable. It's
Because
not
yeah.
as close to.
Because it's always something flashy. It's always something big because you can only do it once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I
like see
think-
loot, it's like ooh.
Once per turn feels like it's sort of like cradled
Yeah.
in the sense where it's like, this would be sick if I could do it more often. Whereas exhaust, you're like, I can only do it once anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas like the
Yeah.
once per turn, it's like I can do it once this turn, then I can do it once next turn. But like I would like to just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And those
Yeah.
feel like things that you could almost build combos out of if they weren't once per turn. Whereas exhaust, you're like, it's only going to happen once anyway. Like,
Yeah.
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 Interesting. Okay, so those are the two new mechanics. We all, of course, have some stuff returning, things like vehicles and cycling and stuff. But we already know about that stuff.
mounts, baby.
So some card cycle that I would just like to mention is they finished the Verge cycle, which I think
Finally.
is
Yeah.
very exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
I think they're pretty good lands for Commander.
Yeah.
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 We want to know if we want to flip them. You know what I mean? Flip the Verges. Like the Simic Verge is taps for blue, taps for green if you control a forest.
Yeah.
They don't have the taps for green, but taps for
Yeah.
blue if they control an island. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. So the Verge cycle, really good. Play them, please.
Yeah, they don't have basic land types.
They do not.
Which does hold them back a little bit, but other than that,
You
I
got
think it's
triomes and shocks and
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I think they're actually really interesting because Commander land bases have kind of gone away. Like, the more optimized you get, the further away you get from the basic land types with, like, Battle Bond lands and the slow lands and all of these things that don't have basic land types. And these are, like, hey, no, you should actually play those because now you have an entire other cycle of lands that cares about you having basics in the first couple of turns.
yeah.
It's just interesting for 3 and 4
You
color
should-
decks.
You should run more basics anyway.
Yeah, probably.
It,
Yeah.
I think this wholeheartedly, and I've recognized it in a lot of deck lists I've seen online recently. There are so many good non-basic lands.
Yeah.
Someone sitting directly to my right plays a lot of them, specifically MDFCs. But a lot of, especially green land ramp, is based around finding basics, and I see it repeatedly in deck lists that people post, like looking for deck help, and it's like, hey, like I'm just not hitting lands, and it's like, well, yeah, you run 6 basics and 8 ways to find basic lands.
Yep.
You're gonna fail to find half the time when you're getting to those because maybe your opening hand has some of the basics in it, and now you're just in a worse position anyway.
For sure.
I do hear the opposite argument though.
Yeah.
Things like Open the Way and
Play Open the Way.
yeah, you could really.
They're
Play open the way.
adding more ways to find non-basics,
Yeah,
but a lot of the better land ramp is finding basics.
Yeah, in white as well. They care about planes specifically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I think if you like the Verge cycle, you probably know why by this point.
Yeah.
So let's get into the juicy stuff. So we're gonna take turns going and talking about some cards, but it wouldn't be a good set review,
It's fireside chat.
Yeah, exactly, without talking about our headliner,
Who we light on fire.
the Aetherspark.
Yes.
It is an equipment Planeswalker.
Crazy
Yeah.
pipeline.
Neuron activation for Ryan.
First time ever. So 4 mana, colorless, legendary artifact Planeswalker equipment comes in with 4 loyalty. As long as the Aetherspark is attached to a creature, the Aetherspark can't be attacked and has, whenever equipped creature deals combat damage during your turn, put that many loyalty counters on the Aetherspark. So it has a +1 ability, attach the Aetherspark to up to 1 target creature you control, put a +1/+1 on that creature. So that's how you get it on there. And then -5, draw 2 cards, -10, add 10 mana of any single color, any one color. So yeah, I think this card's really exciting because we
Yeah.
haven't seen anything like it before. And I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah. A Planeswalker that can survive a table rotation because it legitimately cannot be attacked is huge. Slap this thing on a slippery bogle. Ooh, a hexproof 1/1.
Yeah.
You know, and just load it up with enchantments and auras, and you're eating.
You're off to the races.
Yeah.
One night set.
Yeah. So I think the Aetherspark is going to be good in like your Super Friends style decks, your Boros equipment style decks.
Yeah.
Are you getting it with Sigarda's aid? Maybe not, but it's still a good backup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see this card, or well, first of all, let's talk about the fact that like if you build a Planeswalker that you want to be playable in Commander, like it has to protect itself in some way. And I think this is a very creative way to protect itself.
Oh,
yeah.
They've been doing that a lot. They
Yeah.
have Planeswalkers that phase in and out. They got Planeswalkers that
Make 3 1/1s, you know.
yeah. So this is a very interesting way to do it. It's cool that you can search it up as an equipment. And I think the general Commander deck isn't gonna like love this card, but I think the ones that where you're doing extra combats, where you're beefing up some pretty good creatures, where you already have like innate creature protection, I think is where it's really gonna shine.
You got little Bogles, you got little like unblockable 1/1 dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like the big problem is like if someone does their removal spell on your end step, then you have a whole turn rotation.
Just
you
to
know,
put it back on.
Yeah, well, someone's gonna hit the Planeswalker,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they'll just swing into it and it'll be gone. So yeah, I think it's
You
interesting.
still got to remove the creature at least. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you want at least a 4/4 so that you can get
yeah,
up
a lot
to
of
5.
juicy value out of
Yeah.
it. You slap it on a questing beast.
Yeah, which is pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty
Can't be
good.
prevented.
Yeah.
You get up to 5, deal that 5 damage. Next turn's 10 mana.
Yeah, not bad.
Pretty good.
See, my thought process was you want at least 5. That way you get up to 6 and you can get the 10 mana without it
Yeah.
dying.
Yeah, that's pretty good too. Yeah.
Getting 10 mana, pretty good.
Yeah, drawing
Yeah.
2 cards, getting 10 mana, like I'll take either.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think it's
You'll
pretty
take-
correct.
Aether.
Aether.
It's a solid include in most equipment decks. I don't know where it will really shine. Because
Yeah.
it kind of does generically good stuff. It's just a cool card.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think part of the reason, a hot take, it might not do that well. Like, it's fairly expensive right now, but I feel like we see a lot of cards that are like, hey, like, this card's good, it's really cool, we've never seen anything like this before, so it comes out, it's really expensive, and then like a month later, like, why is this so cheap now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm jamming it. I'm jamming it.
For sure.
Yeah, I'll give it a couple goes. I think there's a lot of Aether Drift cards that are like crazy price tags right now
Yeah,
that I
there are.
really see going
But
down.
we
sure.
see that every
set,
set at this
yeah.
point.
Where they speculate.
Yeah.
All right, well that's our headliner. That's our serialized big papa.
The chase card.
Yeah. So Jake, what do you got for us?
The first card I want to talk about is Monument to Endurance. It is 3 mana for an artifact that says whenever you discard a card, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn, draw a card, create a treasure token, or each opponent loses 3 life. Now, I really like this card because it doesn't say whenever you discard 1 or more, it's just whenever you discard a card. So, you know, your frantic searches or your connive triggers will trigger most of the things on
Faithless
this. Like,
Looting.
yeah, a free lethal scheme is going to trigger all of these when
Yeah.
you connive, which is
Yeah.
kind of crazy. It also does not care about what kind of card you discard. I think cycling decks and just looting in general has gotten a lot of support lately, and this is just one of those keystone pieces that each opponent loses 3 life will lead your do nothing into do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially free discard outlets like Wild Mongrel.
Yeah.
Just pitch 3 cards, do all 3. That's super powerful.
Yeah, it is. And I think with all of the new cycling cards that we got, the few and far between from this set, that cycling is looking like.
Yeah, Tour de France is an actual deck.
interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Cycling is getting a lot of love.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think just good card.
Yeah. This is a
I
good,
just love the
solid card.
flavor text on it.
Yeah.
Loss is not the end of the journey.
Yeah.
Cute.
I just think
Good
it's-
advice.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. No, but I'm excited to see what this card will do. Because
Yeah.
it's got a lot of potential, I think.
Yeah, especially with like
Yeah.
blinking artifact, blinking it, and all that.
I wonder if it ends up seeing like any CDH play in like Anji Falcon Wrath decks.
It might. My gut would say no. Because Blink or Madness decks don't have a way to blink it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't lead to you winning the game. You just get the full benefit every turn.
yeah.
So
We'll
it's
see.
a little rough, but I think the surprise or the sleeper hit for things like this are commander set loot on attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just
Yeah.
being able to loot and draw an additional card in any color is great. Just that as the floor, fantastic.
Same thing with your Merfolk looters, doing that every turn. It's gas.
It's just gas. But Alex, what did you want to talk about?
Speaking of cycling, I have Spectacular Pileup as my first card. It is 3 white for a sorcery. All creatures and vehicles lose indestructible until end of turn. Then destroy all creatures and vehicles, and it has cycling for 2. I was surprised that we don't have this effect yet. I feel like we've been skirting around the edge of board wipes with this effect for a while. Like Toxic Deluge kind of gets around Indestructible. You have Farewell just exiling stuff, completely getting around it. But this just straight up says, leave your Heroic Intervention at home, leave it in your hand. I'm gonna destroy it anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's cool. And it also has like, oh, I'm ahead. I don't need a board wipe right now. I'm gonna cycle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just kind of free up that extra spot because I probably play the most board wipes of our group.
Depending on
Maybe.
the deck.
But yeah, depending on the deck.
And I've definitely been like leading games and like, oh, great. I don't really need a Blasphemous Act right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cycling works with Monument to Endurance.
Yeah.
Sure does.
Yeah.
Good card.
Well, you got to play it for the vehicle destruction, right?
absolutely. Everybody knows.
Someone plays Greasefang, you just gotta make sure they never come back.
Ruin their life.
Boy, you thought Swift Reconfiguration was a cute card?
It's very interesting to me because it's worse than Exile, right? It's worse
Yeah.
than like a Farewell type effect.
Yeah.
But it's obviously better than just normal
think-
destroy.
It's a mana cheaper than Farewell. It has way less modes, but I think it's almost tuned for casual commander more. In a sense of like Farewell as a card has gotten a ton of backlash. And now this is like almost another way around it with less backlash.
It's like a green counter.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
a lot of green savior stuff gives all of your things indestructible.
Yeah, and
This
a
is
lot
like-
of white savior stuff too.
Yeah, this
actually.
is just like, I don't care, it's going
Yeah,
away
like,
anyway.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's good in like a Orzhov Aristocrats type deck, where like you want a board wipe, but you don't want to lose the creatures in your graveyard, right?
Yeah.
Because like it loses indestructible, but you still get your creatures in your yard
Yeah.
that you
Probably,
could
yeah.
recur, where you wouldn't want to run a Farewell. I think that's like the place that I would start to consider something like that. It's like, okay, I can still dog everybody else,
Yeah.
For sure.
but with getting around the indestructible, but
Yeah. I
know,
can still
to
get the
make
guy
your
playing
small
Smuggler's Copter too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for
The three of us that are still Smuggler's Copter holdouts.
Smuggler's Copter with Monument to
Oh my
Endurance,
God.
though.
Ooh, it just there's so much gravy on that train.
for my decks, I don't think I'm gonna play that. I think Final Showdown's still the premier whiteboard wipe right now.
Yeah.
It costs a little bit more mana, but it is an instant, which is a little crazy.
Yeah. And your Farewell ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
But I
as
think,
your catch-all.
like, Spectacular Pileup is good. We see Al's Giada deck a lot, just making his Angels indestructible, and it's like, I don't have a solution for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Dog's
little
Avison.
It sure does.
It gets around that. Yeah, I think there's definitely some places for it.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, what about Ryan?
Man, speaking about a vehicle and cycling, I'm going to talk about Valor's Flagship. Valor's Flagship is a 4 white 7/7 legendary artifact vehicle. It has flying First Strike Lifelink Crew 3 with cycling X2 and a white. And then when you cycle this card, you create X11 colorless pilot creature tokens with this token saddles and mounts and cruise vehicles as though its power were 2 greater.
Wow.
I'm talking about this card solely based off of Greasefang, that it's not as good Parhelion 2, but still something that you can animate for cheap, and it cycles so you can get it into the graveyard for free without using your Entombs or your, like, Auric Guild Mages or Lore Mage to put it in the bin, and you still get something that can crew your vehicles on later turns in Greasefang. And in pre-release, it is a house with tune-up and Colodin in play. I did that. I won. That's mainly it. I just wanted to talk about like a big old beefy chunky, the chunky Parhelion 2 style vehicle for all you Greasefangs players out there.
Yeah.
I don't play a lot of vehicles, but big vehicles make me happy. I like that. It's like, that's a cool vehicle.
Yeah.
It's big, it's bad.
It feels weird, like, to put like a 2/2 into something, and then it's like, oh, this is a 2/2 into a 3/3. Where, like, big vehicles is like, no, this makes sense. Like, you're in a truck now. You should be bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Valor's Flagship, it's like, if you want to make tokens with it, cool. It's good cycled, and it's good just, like, hard casted or tuned
Honestly,
up.
I think it's like one of the perfect white vehicles.
Yeah.
It does everything you want at every stage of the game.
Yeah.
Like early game, you need pilots for cheaper vehicles, cycle it. Late game, you draw it, top deck 7/7, pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
With lifelink.
And the little guys that it creates from the cycle can crew it.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
Like, it is just a good card, I think, for vehicles.
for playing vehicles, include Valor's Flagship, along with your Parhelion 2s.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So I'm next. I'm going to talk about the Raceways, our new little land cycle that we got. One at common,
Had to do it.
uncommon, and rare, I believe.
Yes.
so, yeah.
Yes.
Amonkhet and the other two.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Avishkar and Muraganda.
let's talk about the most exciting ones, specifically for Commander, which I think are Amonkhet and Muraganda.
100%.
So Muraganda Raceway has start your engines, and it taps normally for colorless. But if you get max speed, then you tap it for 2 colorless. So it turns into Ancient Tomb that doesn't hurt you.
Temple of the False God, baby!
Or a Temple of the False God.
Comes in
Hey,
untapped.
if
Does
you're
come
hitting
down
max speed, that's kind of on the same line.
Oh my
Yes.
god.
You got to work a little harder for it, I
yeah.
think.
Yeah.
But I think the trade-off of being able to tap it for colorless makes it a lot easier to
Yeah, that I
include
don't
in
throw a
decks.
hand back
Yeah.
versus Temple of the
Yeah.
False God in my opening 7. So, yeah, I like Muraganda Raceway. It is, like, you just plop it down, I think at any point in the game, and then eventually you're going to find a way to turn it on.
Yeah.
And even if you don't, it's still an untapped colorless land that may get value.
Yeah, I do think, we say it a lot, but like I do think the land slot is becoming increasingly more competitive, trying to fit in your basics, trying to fit in your Otawaras, trying to fit
Verges.
in your Talon Gates of Madara, your Verges, But I do think that this one is at least worth trying to see how many
Yes.
times you can proc it off.
Yeah.
The thing with Start Your Engines is you're trying to get your opponents to lose life anyway, because that's usually how you win the game.
Yeah,
True.
I am jamming it, so we'll see how it works.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try it in, 9-figure Skeen. I'm going to maybe try it in Krenko because goblins go fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely has a home in your low to the ground, aggressive, like
I
gut
might-
and Krenko decks.
I might look at putting them in like Agnes. They're all featured in one of the decks that I'm building that we'll be talking about later.
Yeah.
So like,
Because Agnes is
I think they all
haste,
have,
right?
Yeah, Agnes is
Yeah.
haste based.
Oh,
Get in
100%. You vroom zoom and then you get the raceway
Yeah.
going. And
But with there only being like, provided I find space for all 3 of them in Agnes, which is already a 3-color deck, like there's very limited space for colorless lands.
Yeah.
Like then they're the only things that increase speed, and so that's kind of a toss-up. Like Avishkar at max speed will tap to give a creature haste,
Which is
then Agnes
huge.
will create a treasure off of.
Amonkhet.
Amonkhet.
Yeah.
Avishkar is the ones that's 3 and discard a card to draw a card.
Yep.
yeah,
Cool. So Amonkhet is nice, and Agnes cares about the haste keyword being on there. But at that point, I don't necessarily know if it's worth it, because I would have had to probably had at least one of those 3 lands for 4 turns.
Yeah.
I think
Because there's no other way to start
with-
my engines.
I think with haste creatures, it's definitely a gamble worth taking.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's really hard to evaluate them, especially in the land slot, because it's like
Yeah.
you kind of have to be doing well already with a land
True.
on your bench to like.
Yeah.
But if you're in like a pinger style deck, you know,
Yeah.
then I think they're kind of like shoe-ins, you know what I mean?
And I think, I don't think we have it mentioned or listed at all. Starting columns, the 3 mana rock that has start your engines. And I think maybe that finds a spot in a deck like this too, because that's another way to start it and still produce colored mana. It just depends on what your artifact ramp looks like if you can slip it in there.
Yeah.
I will say Amonkhet Raceway definitely is worth a look-see as a land that can give haste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to put mana into it either.
Yeah.
It's just tap, give a thing haste. It's like Hall the Bandit Lord and like Flamekin Village and
Hanweir Battlement.
yeah, Hanweir
It's-
Battlements.
It's
Which
one of those
just got
things where, like,
reprinted, so.
if you just drop it turn 3 and just kind of play out the game,
Mm-hmm.
if you're at turn 7 or turn 8, you may already be at max speed, and then it's just like, oh, hey, like, I can just kind of,
cool. I can give my
Yeah.
Ishin haste. You know what I mean?
I can give my Valor's
Ooh,
flagship haste.
yeah. if he's crude.
Yeah,
he's great.
exactly.
Yeah, I do think that Amonkhet is kind of being looked over more than Muraganda Raceway.
Yeah.
But it being a colorless land that gives haste is crazy. Like,
it
is.
you know,
Yeah.
you have your Arena of Glories for your red
Inner
decks.
Glory, yeah.
But for your other decks, this is pretty good. And something that's worth noting is that, you know, late game, it's still pretty good too. Like if you play your commander, it swings in, you know, maybe it's got a little bit of a attack kind of focus, then you want that haste later.
Yeah, especially for like you give a Simic deck
recast.
haste, like for your Edric, like little dudes swing and draw cards.
Yeah. No, it's good.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Cool.
Raceway's pretty good.
For the opportunity cost of having to track speed.
Yes,
I think
that is a
they're-
downside.
I think most of them are worth a shot. You know,
Yeah.
they may not be, it might just be flavor of the month, but they're at least worth kicking around.
Yeah.
Maybe not a Vishkar.
Yeah.
Maybe not a
Vishkars.
Vishkar. unless you're hurting for a squirtin' for draws and discards.
Brother.
All right. I hear you got a quite lucky card, Jake.
Oh boy, I'm counting on it. My second card is Count on Luck. I think it's red for at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. This is notable just because it's red for Exian Arena. That's it. It's gonna be the backbone for any like mono red impulse deck. I think.
Goes and prosper.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the sheer amount of variation that we have on
The fact that we say
this
about so
effect,
many cards.
the fact that we didn't have one that's just at your upkeep, exile something, is
Yeah.
crazy. We had, Outpost Siege is the closest thing.
Yeah.
I think that's
3
4
in a row.
mana.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but so many cards that care about when you do it.
Yeah, exactly. And this is just like, hey, instead of playing Theater of Horrors, you can play this instead. It does the same thing. Less hoops to jump through.
Theater of Horrors is what, 5 mana too?
Yeah, exactly.
So and Rakdos.
Yeah, and Count on Luck will fit in like a Lelia deck, whereas Theater of Horrors is Rakdos.
Yep.
And you kind of narrow your scope a little bit. There's a lot of red decks that care about exiling things, so this kind of slots right in to lead the pack.
There's Gruul decks that care about exiling things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
Rakdos. I mean, triple red. If you're getting into the 3, 4, 5 color, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say the downside of triple red is
yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
I'd say higher than a Phyrexian Arena, which is just the 2 pips.
Yeah, 1 black
Yeah.
black.
But like, is that really that much of a cost either? Like, if you're in blue, you're running blue card draw. If you're in black, you're running black card draw. So like,
If you're in green, you're in green. So,
so you got card
You're
draw.
gonna ramp into the mountains anyway.
If you're in white, you got card draw.
really, this is a problem for Boros decks specifically because they
When
can
isn't
fetch
it?
plains and not mountains. Yeah, but
yeah.
I think this is like way better, and I don't think that the three pips is really a big deal. It might be a big deal on turn 3, so you might not be able to curve out with it as much, but
Yeah.
still
Oh,
a good
boy.
card.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
mono red decks are gonna eat this up.
Oh,
And I'm
100%.
gonna run it in.
It will suck when you're trying to play on curve and you flip
Yes.
over your Dracuseth,
Yep.
you know, and you're like, oh, you know.
Uh-huh.
But I think you're including it to run that risk anyway.
And I think that risk goes with any card that like exiles from the top of your deck anyway, right? Like if you're playing a Jessica's Will and you get those 3 and you're like, well, I'm not gonna have the mana for it anyway, but like there's my big bomb, crud.
Yeah.
Sometimes
because Will does add a lot of mana too, though.
Yeah, or but maybe you flip off like your aggravated assault or something, or your insurrection. And it's like, I was trying to get this to win the game,
Can you tell
and
I don't
now
like
it
those
is
effects?
revealed and gone forever.
Yeah. No, again, you just got to count on luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better to be lucky than good. So like.
Oh boy. Yeah.
All right, Alex.
I have the Aetherflux Conduit as the next one. It's a 6 mana artifact. Whenever you cast a spell, you get an amount of energy counters equal to the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. You can tap, pay 50 energy, draw 7. You may cast any number of spells from your hand without paying their mana costs. I run a Liberty Prime deck, which is notably an artifacts and energy deck, and I think it's very fun. This is insane. First off, you need to create a lot of energy, which is psychotic to begin with. Like
Yeah,
50
that's a
energy
lot of
is
energy.
very high.
50
I think
energy,
the
yeah.
most I've gotten to in a game with Liberty Prime is like 20, maybe 22. Granted, you do get energy for casting spells,
Sure.
and in the amount of mana you paid to cast them. Yeah, so like if you are casting and recasting your commander, and now all of a sudden your commander costs 10, that's 10 energy counters you're getting. But
That's a
for
50, a 10
for
out of
50 energy, drawing 7 and casting your hand for free is insane.
Yeah, what I like about this card is not necessarily the power level of it, but it's just a big splashy effect that I love
Yeah.
to see in Commander.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
like-
if I have 50 energy, I should have won the game by
Yeah,
now.
no,
However,
hold on. It's not you have 50 energy. It's you spent 50 mana to get that energy.
Yeah.
Like,
Aetherworks Marvel's the same thing
Yeah.
for less
Yeah.
energy, but it goes at the top of your deck. So
yeah, there are ways to get energy other than this card, obviously. But
Yeah.
but I think in a dedicated energy deck, it's a fun top end, big splashy effect. Unlike the Reservoir,
Yeah.
Aetherflux Reservoir, it's not like a feel bad effect. It's like, I'm gonna do this big splashy cool thing.
And it
not
may or
just
may not work.
screw you in particular like the other one.
yeah,
You know.
50 ball to the dome. You know, I'll pants you real quick.
So I like this.
Aetherflux Conduit, draw 7, they're all lands.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna happen too.
Yeah, can't cast your
As long as
commander
it doesn't happen to me.
off of the activated ability,
That's true.
unfortunately.
Unless he's in your hand.
Yes.
Strionic
Can't use
Resonator.
Count on Luck to.
Yeah, you can't Strionic Resonator it to double the trigger, though.
True, that is pretty cool.
Did not even think about that.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. Energy payoff.
Yeah, I mean, it also gives like energy decks a way to win the game.
Yeah,
Like,
which I'll take.
yeah, if there's definitely ways to loop and make infinite energy. So just having a place to dump all of that,
You
great.
take infinite turns with Gonti's Aetherheart or whatever.
Yeah.
Gonti's Aetherheart exiles itself.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
so
maybe
then you
not
just draw
Dante's
your whole
Aetherheart.
back.
Yeah.
Like, pretty good.
Yeah.
Make infinite energy, tap it, untap it.
Yeah, cast
I
every
basically
spell in my
win now.
deck.
It's like,
Yeah.
actually, I want to see you cast.
Play it out, please.
Actually, I have Platinum Angel.
Okay.
Platinum
Please
Angel in here.
demonstrate the loop.
Okay, anyways.
Repurposing Bay.
Yeah, Repurposing Bay. So I want to talk about Repurposing Bay because artifacts are insane. Repurposing Bay is a 2 and a blue artifact with an activated ability of 2 and tap. Sacrifice another artifact. Search your library for an artifact card with mana value equal to 1+ the sacrificed artifact's mana value. Put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Activate only as a sorcery. You guys like Birthing Pod?
I love Birthing.
You guys
Pod,
like
Ryan.
Birthing Pod for artifacts? Oh boy! I don't have to tell you why this is good. You know,
Yeah.
there's already probably people smarter than me have already figured out the degen chain that wins you the game already with artifacts.
Bro, go find your One Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go find your Aetherspark.
Yes, sacrifice. Yeah, you can chew away at your Ornithopters and your Memnites to just go up the chain to find whatever you need. You can eat an Ornithopter, find a Tormod's Crypt, wipe the graveyard player. You can do a bunch of different things. You can.
It's just good.
It's all gravy.
It's honestly surprising that they hadn't printed this effect before.
Yeah.
They're probably too scared.
I mean,
Because
honestly,
Birthing Pod
yeah.
did ruin some formats.
The fact that it
artifacts
is
are
just
crazy.
like, it's just pod.
Yeah.
There's no additional
It's pod,
language.
but artifacts.
There's no additional riders. There's no, it's not exhaust. It's literally just artifact pod.
Yeah.
It's great.
Infinite colorless mana and dramatic reversal under an Isochron Scepter, and you're off to the races.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call it a go.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Which are
just
two
a-
things artifact decks already want to do.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
the funnest version of this deck is, like a toolbox type deck where you want to like grab
Yeah,
something
for
like
sure.
what you said, like Tormod's Crypt, to
Which
like
is
get you out
pretty
of a
similar
bind.
to the funnest version of a pod deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, there's a million and one ways. It's an artifact itself, so you can get it back with your Emery lists. So
Yeah.
you can cast it from the bin.
You combine it with
Fabric-
Trinket Mage?
Trinket Mage, Fabricate.
Transit Mage, baby.
Yeah.
You
Transit
can't
Mage
find it
cannot
with
find
Transit
this,
Mage.
actually.
But Transit Mage would also be helpful in the same list.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of the
Mages.
T mages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trinket, Tribute.
Now that they've completed the cycle.
Didn't even know they were looking to complete that. But yeah, no, Repurposing Bay is just gas.
Yeah,
There's-
just good.
Yeah.
Just good. Have you used-
Specifically, any decks that make copies of artifacts, they keep their mana value.
Yeah.
So all of your Grixis Mishras,
Hey, if you use C double on it.
yeah, if you're in a 3 to 4 color Osgear deck, your
Yeah.
Osgear tokens will keep their mana value.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. So I don't have to tell you why it's busted.
Yeah, it's busted.
Cool. So I'm going to talk about everybody's favorite loot, the Pathfinder.
He's
Let's go!
definitely a cute.
2 green,
Stand
blue, red. Legendary creature beast noble, 2/4, double strike, vigilance, haste, has 3 exhaust abilities. First one is green and tap, add 3 mana of any one color.
Great card.
Exhaust blue and tap, draw 3 cards.
Great card.
Exhaust red and tap, loot deals 3 damage to any target.
Okay card.
And 2 out of 3 of those be part of the
Yeah,
Power 9.
seriously.
Wait, you're telling me Bolt isn't a power 9?
Might as well be.
Yeah, so those will look familiar as, a Lotus, Black Lotus, Ancestral Recall, and Lightning Bolt. But he can only do them once. If only there was a way around it in teamer colors.
Man.
Hey, there's a way around it outside of Teamer colors. Run Agatha Soul Cauldron.
Make them soup, make loot soup.
Make loot
Yep.
soup with Agatha Soul.
Yeah, I think what makes loot so interesting is particularly that he has haste. So blink effects,
And vigilance.
clone effects,
For
yes.
some reason,
Yeah.
vigilance.
You can
And
blow
double
someone
strike.
out. You can blow someone out with a block.
Yeah.
You can just dome their bird.
Just
You
like,
know what I
hey,
mean?
I'm going to hit you for 4 right now, and then maybe I'll draw 3. Maybe I'll add 3 mana.
Maybe I have a Deadeye Navigator
Maybe I'm
in
going to
play.
shoot you in the forehead.
and everyone's dead.
Yeah, he is what? Just infinite with Deadeye?
Yeah, I believe you need a payoff, but I think you can blink him pretty crazy.
I don't. Is he mana positive or is it a closed loop? Because if he's
It's-
mana positive, he is the payoff.
It's a closed loop.
Damn.
You need 3 mana to complete
Yeah.
it because of the 3 mana of one color.
play Impact
yeah,
Tremors.
yeah.
It screws you.
Oh yeah, just play Impact Tremors. Easy.
Yeah, then you're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, Deadeye loops, that's nothing new. I think there's a lot of interesting, fun things to do with loots. You can make a bunch of clones. You could do the red clones that sacrifice at end step, which you don't care because you can swing in with a double striker, use an exhaust ability, and then it's gone. So those cheap clone effects that happen every turn. I think it's an interesting card. If I was ever going to build a loot deck, it would be this one so far.
So far.
But
We'll see him in every set for the next 40 years.
Yeah, seriously.
in common loot fashion, it's just kind of generically good as well. It's just like making mana is good, drawing cards is good, dealing damage is good. Right? There's nothing that's, there's a little bit inspiring about him, but like there's not a lot inspiring about him. And I think maybe if
Magic's
he had a little bit
Charizard.
more of a theming, I think people would be a little less
Yeah. The card's just generic.
Pikachu/Charizard hate on him.
Yeah, he's just generically good. This deck, if you didn't read the card and thought, hell yeah, to yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh boy,
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see him too much. He might have some dedicated decks, but he's teamer, so it's not like you're going to jam him anywhere.
Yeah, he's kind of just teamer good stuff. And I really want them to give him a keyword or an ability that shows up multiple times on his cards and, like, is unique to him, because...
Yeah, it really doesn't feel like any loot cards go together.
No.
Yeah, he was teamer mono green and now teamer again.
Yeah, I mean, you probably play the mono green loot in both of the other loot decks because he's just, again, generically good. But, yeah.
But do you play teamer loot in teamer loot?
Probably not.
No, because one's
I'm not sure.
impulse draw, the other is exhaust.
Yeah.
I'm not sure either of them go with each other.
Yeah. But he's loot and he's cute, so...
You will see commander decks built around this guy.
Yeah, you will.
Oh, yeah.
All
Something
right.
else that's cute, though.
Yeah.
My next card, oh boy, 6 mana for an enchantment, 3 green, green, green for March of the World Ooze. Yeah, this was a big, as Ryan would say, donkey enchantment. That
It is a donkey enchantment.
yeah, kind of doesn't do anything. I'm talking about it because I think it's cool. I think Oozes have kind of mechanically solidified, oddly enough, ever since the D&D sets. And this is just another in a long line of like consistent Ooze cards that are going to make a really cool deck one day. It says, creatures you control have base power and toughness 6/6 and are Oozes in addition to their other types. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if it's not their turn, you create a 3/3 green elephant creature token, which will also be a 6/6 Ooze. You just make 6/6s. And they just happen to be Oozes. I think for your mono green decks, this is kind of just mid. Yeah. You really do have to build around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like its ability, though. I like the idea of green getting things when your opponents cast spells.
Yeah.
I think that that's pretty tonally consistent with the color, and this is, it's just a fun card.
It's very forgotten ancient of it.
Yeah, very. If you're making tokens, double them. Like,
yeah.
If you care about vanilla creatures, run this.
Yeah. Like, 6/6 ain't nothing to sneeze at, especially if you're just paying 1 mana for a 6/6 Ooze,
Like, it's not really anything to write home about, and you don't jam it in every deck, but in the decks that are built around making tokens and caring about Oozes, it's going to be great.
That's, like, the best card.
Yeah, literally.
I think related to it, they also came out with Adrenaline Jockey this set, which is a red spell, 2 and a red, creature Minotaur Pilot, 3/3. Whenever a player casts a spell, if it's not their turn, this creature deals 4 damage to them. And then it cares about exhaust abilities, but I cared more about like that first part that goes right along with March of the World Ooze, where like they're making payoffs for other people playing stuff at instant speed.
Yeah.
Which I think is really interesting, and I think is kind of more fun to run in decks.
Yeah.
Because like you guys can go ahead and get into a battle on the stack. I'm just benefiting over here. Like I'm not going to participate, but I will get 4 6/6s off of that stack.
Yeah.
Well, so the
Or I
other
will
thing,
get 14 damage to throw or 16 damage to throw.
yeah, the other thing that people, I didn't really see anybody talking about this, but if you are running it in the Ooze deck specifically, Oozes care about +1/+1 counters. So these are 6/6s. Like this could be your finisher. You have a bunch of 0/0 Oozes. You slam this down, they'll get +6/+6.
Yeah.
Like that's just a good rate in green.
That's
6 mana for
I didn't even think about
+6/+6.
that. It probably also goes in like Hydra decks in that same
Yeah.
case.
If
where they
your
come in as
Hydras are
0/0s.
0/0s.
Yeah.
This just being a they get +6/+6. They don't get trample or anything, but it's still interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Very oozy though.
Do like Oozes.
Yeah.
Getting oozed
Got
up.
the schmooves.
Schleeman. What you got, Alex?
My next one is Oviya. Automech Artisan. We have seen her once before, but not like this. She is 3 and a green for a legendary creature, Human Artificer. She is a 1/2. Each creature that's attacking one of your opponents has trample. And then for a green, tap, you may put a creature or vehicle card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you put a vehicle onto the battlefield this way, put 2 1/1 counters on it. It's like Sneak Attack, except you get to keep it. And it encourages people to swing at your opponents. I, at one point, had a Thantis deck that then turned into my Carter deck I may, at another point, have a Thantis deck again because they keep making cards that I think would go good in Thantis. This is one of them. It encourages people to swing at your opponents, and you can just drop your, 6 mana, 8/8 for 1 mana. And you could just do that.
Is this a commander deck card?
I
Looks
don't
like it.
believe so.
No, that's a main set.
No,
Oh,
this
wow.
is main set. Yeah.
Neat.
She's crazy in just the terms of not paying your taxes. She is actively money laundering. It is, I'm sorry, she is actively mana laundering. But just the giant things that you could drop for 1 mana, play an Emrakul for a green. Go ahead, do it. Like, that's insane.
Yeah. I think this is the first effect in green that we've seen that cares about vehicles, and this is probably also the best Elvish Viper ever printed.
Yeah.
Like,
I
just
do love an Elvish Viper.
yeah, she does have Elvish Viper text, but she also cares about your opponents, like getting
Yeah.
attacked. The trample text is not
Irrelevant.
irrelevant. Yeah, it does make it just better than Elvish
Which
Viper,
is kind of
I think.
timing-wise interesting because of how big tokens and token creatures have been as of late. Like, your big creature decks have kind of fallen off in the sense of, oh, well, it just gets blocked by a squirrel. Well, now it's,
Yeah.
screw the squirrel.
Yeah.
Block it with all your squirrels. I'm still getting damage
Yeah,
through.
definitely a good mono green role player, or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
lead of your mono green stompy lists.
Yep.
Yeah.
You put in your curve starts at 6. You know what I mean? You're dropping Gigantosauruses with trample.
It's true.
Yeah, I do think these effects that like encourage your opponents to attack one another and makes your attacks more profitable are like just better goad. Like goad's
Yeah.
annoying because
Yeah.
it takes the agency away, but these effects are very interesting because it's
Yeah.
like, okay, you have a benefit.
The
Like, you don't
illu-
have to.
the illusion
but
of choice.
It makes sense because commander players, they can't leave value on the table
Exactly.
No,
unless they have a very
no.
spiteful war going on.
Yeah.
Then they might. Then
Wait
they
a
might swing
second.
into
Wait
you.
a second. Al, you're telling me that there are people that play Commander and have spiteful wars, maybe just
saying
like directly across the table with one another?
Some might be in this room. I think it's so
You're
pervasive.
right. Jake and Ryan do that way
Could
too
be me.
often.
It could be you.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Because
but
Al, we're boys, right?
oh, we're always boys, bro. We're boys. We're boys.
We're boys. We're boys.
But yeah, so Jake's very familiar with this effect. He runs Blast Furnace Hellkite, which gives
Love that
attacking creatures to your opponents double strike.
Yeah.
And it does its job. It
It sure
encourages.
does.
Duelist Heritage and
Yeah, we love
Duelist
some
Heritage.
Duelist Heritage.
yeah,
Also
Duelist
good.
Heritage.
Yeah, there's just big creatures by the end of the game, and Trample's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So my next card is the most Ryan card from the entire set in the Speed Demon.
Let's go.
Bro's a
So
demon for
the
speed.
Speed Demon is 3 black for a legendary creature demon. It is a 5/5 with flying and trample, and it has start your engines. And at the beginning of my end step, I may draw X and lose X, where X is my speed. Oh yeah.
Okay, brother.
Oh yeah. It's like Phyrexian Arena. I
Ryan loves
love this
Phyrexian
card so much.
Yeah.
Will it kill me more often than Phyrexian Arena? Yeah, probably. Will I have a smile on my face when it does kill me? Yes. Because it's a 5-mana 5/5 flying trampler that is gonna, on my turn, hopefully draw me 3 cards and lose me 3 life.
Draw you 4 cards and lose you 4 life.
God,
Yeah.
what a world to live in.
Yeah.
That's the kind of Magic I want to play.
Speed, I am speed.
It's just a good card.
Yeah.
It's
It
just
really
a good
is.
card.
Even at 1 speed, if your deck is like my Demon's deck, it curve starts at 6. You know what I mean? I'm just an extra Blood Gift Demon or Phyrexian Arena is just good.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
And it
think-
enables itself. Next turn, you're gonna get 2 speed because it's a flying trampler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting about it, and what slightly holds it back for me, is the fact that it's at end step. So like, I like Phyrexian Arena because instead of starting my turn with 7 cards in hand, I start my turn with 8 cards in hand. Whereas this is at the beginning of your end step, so you're not necessarily keeping all 3 or 4 cards you're drawing.
Yeah, but if this set on upkeep, I would rate it so much lower because then it has to last a turn rotation.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you
Yeah.
get immediate benefit of at least 1 card.
Yeah.
But I think long term, provided you're not dumping your hand every turn, you do kind of get to a point of, okay, Like, this is the third turn in a row that I've had to discard 2 to 3 cards at end step.
Well, I want to discard 2 to 3 cards because I
Yeah.
can cast Reanimate.
You're in black.
Yeah.
I was about to say
Yeah.
the downside is not there.
Yeah.
So I don't run a lot of reanimate effects, but I'm of the mind that like if I am discarding down to hand size, I'm
That's
already
generally a good thing.
Yeah.
And if it's a problem, then I should be running Reliquary Tower and your
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
But I do understand like that is a cost. It's a consideration.
You're not getting cards you can use immediately.
Yeah.
Unless you're drawing instants.
Yeah. End step draws.
Yeah.
But I would rather have them now than at the upkeep. I think.
Yeah.
The
generally.
next
Yeah.
turn.
Yeah.
Where there's 3 turns in between the payoff, especially for something that's 5 mana.
Yeah. I actually think the card's just perfect the way it is. I think the end step is great. I think it gives the player more agency over when they want to die to it. Because they will probably die to it.
Yeah, and there's so many sacrifice ways in black anyway
Yeah.
that you can, in a sense, prevent yourself from dying to it.
Sacrificing? I'm dying to
situations.
this thing. What are you
Yeah,
talking about?
Well,
He's gonna
we
die.
know that.
I'm going to draw 4
Gladly.
swamps, take 4 damage, and die.
But I also think that this might be like the best mono black demon commander out there.
Yeah, if you're looking for like mono black demons, because it also works well in hurt yourself decks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Mortarion, I know I've mentioned Mortarion a lot as like
Willow
hurt
Dusk.
yourself type decks. Yeah, Willow Dusk, cards
Well,
that
it
care
doesn't
about.
work in Willow Dusk at all.
Okay.
That was a bad example. She is sorcery speed.
Yeah. So
don't-
yeah, Mortarion, like it works with your living death. No, not the Death Shadow.
Yeah. Death
Yeah.
Shadow.
Death Shadow effects.
Which
So-
they just reprinted another one of.
Yeah. Vehicle Death
Yeah.
Shadow.
So
Yeah.
if you're in black, I'd suggest looking at this card. If you're a Phyrexian Arena enjoyer, also look at this card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Stridehangar Automaton. 3 mana, colorless artifact creature construct. 1/4. Thopters you control get +1/+1.
Woo!
And that's it.
The Thopter guy.
Yeah.
It's better than most. It's better than most rat cards already.
Honestly.
Yeah.
No, we got
a
a
lord.
juicy second line of text.
There's more.
If 1 or more artifact tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus an additional 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying are created instead.
Artifact tokens, you say?
Yeah, those are super difficult to create. So like that's good that they neutered this by
And it says-
by picking a very difficult.
It says once a turn, right? Surely you forgot that part.
Nope,
Only
we
the
are
sorcerer,
blessed
maybe.
on this day.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, but it only activates on your turn.
Nope.
Nope.
Anytime, anywhere.
That's
So-
crazy.
It's like 7 mana.
Nope, 3 mana, that's it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
this card's cracked.
Yeah, I think my favorite part about this card is that we can finally talk about 2 cards whenever we bring up Academy Manufactor. We've been talking about that card since Strixhaven, and we will continue to talk about that one alongside this one.
Yep.
I think my favorite...
So much value.
So much value.
Yeah, legitimately.
And my favorite part about the card is that the decks that it goes in really want this card. Because if you're making a mass, just critical mass of artifacts, things like clues, things like foods, things like treasures. Treasures, clues, and foods don't block. You know what does block?
A 2/2
A 2/2 flyer.
in the
Yeah,
air.
dude.
Yeah.
A 2/2 in the air. You don't even need to be an artifact deck to care about this.
Oh, but brother, when you're in an artifact deck, make a Thopter make 2 instead.
Psymaster Thopterus.
Oh my
Make
god,
Make a
dude.
Thopter, make
Oh.
another Thopter, make 4/4 power in the air.
Yeah. No, this card for 3 mana, Thopters, you don't even have to care about them. It's
Yeah.
so good.
It's just a good card. It's good for the reasons that Academy Manufactor is. I know it's not a treasure, but it
this
is a
card.
blocker.
Yeah.
It's so
hate
so
this
good it's
card.
bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get killed as soon as I play this card.
I haven't even played against it yet, and I already hate it.
Yeah.
You
Pissed
should,
off.
You know what decks
I'm
it
holding
goes
up Beast Within now, starting right now. But I'm holding up removal for this card.
Unlike the card I'm about to talk about, this card goes in any deck. It is colorless.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is an
Yeah.
artifact finisher in any deck. Just insane.
Yeah, it goes insane, and
August would make
especially
a 2/2 Thopter.
yeah, and especially if you have like an artifact finisher, if you have a Marionette Master or something of the sort, and you just have another way to get rid of your artifact tokens too. It's just
Are we
telling me
fabricating
I'm getting
making
stuff for
servos with Marionette Master finally?
Yeah, maybe. Let me tell you, this
Yeah.
this card has got me cooking on what is it, Retrofitter Foundry
ooh,
or Animation Module. Those cards I've always wanted to build a deck around them. I think they're super fiddly, and this might just get me to do it. Like,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Yeah.
But if you're playing this card and you're in black, a card I think you should also be playing is Pactdoll Terror.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pactdoll Terror. Yeah.
3 in a black. I was surprised that nobody was talking about this when I looked at the list. So it's 3 in a black for an artifact creature toy. It is a 3/4, so pretty good rate.
Yeah.
But it also says whenever this creature or another artifact you control enters, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life.
It's ugly.
So it's really ugly.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that this is the first symmetrical artifactocrat in black. I think Marionette Master is targeted. I think maybe Marionette Apprentice is symmetrical, but it doesn't gain you any life.
Disciple of the Vault, maybe.
That's target.
Is that
Yeah,
target?
that's target.
Is that target? Okay.
I think that the life gain off of this is substantial,
Yeah.
especially in
Yeah.
black. I think it enables a whole slew of new combos.
Yeah.
All for a common?
All for a
Crazy.
common, and it increases your speed.
And devotion.
And devotion, yeah.
Yeah, it is an easy way in an artifact deck to get that speed up.
Yeah, Apprentice is symmetrical.
Yeah, but it is graveyard. So interesting. This one is
ETB.
enters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one is like impact
So,
tremors for artifacts in
This
black.
one's probably better than Marionette Apprentice.
It is 4 mana though.
Right, but you don't need a sack outlet paired with it.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you are making all of those Thopters, you get value from them entering.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a way to get rid of them as well.
I don't know though, but it's 4 mana and it has to be there when you create them.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Because like the thing about Marionette Master, Marionette Apprentice, I crew treasures the entire game. I drop that down, everyone's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I do think it's good. I think it's cracked. I think it's great. And I think I like both, right? Like
Yeah.
when it
Yeah,
enters,
you're definitely playing both.
I'm getting you on the way in, I'm getting you on the way
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Like that is.
Yeah.
And gaining life in black
roads.
is usually good. You're running your speed demons, you're running,
Yeah.
effects that just drain you. You're
Phyrexian
signing
Arena,
bloods.
baby.
Incremental life gain, yeah.
Yeah. Just incidental, incremental life gain is just nice to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's definitely just a role filler. It's not the splashiest card, but the decks that want it really wanted this effect, I think.
Yeah.
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 What you got for us, Alex?
Mine is a little bit weirder. Mine's a little bit more fine-tuned. I have my dinosaurs here. So I have Regal Imperial Soar and Aganosaurus Rex, or Aganosaur Rex. Regal Imperial Soar is a dinosaur lord. 3 mana, 5/4. Other dinosaurs you control get +1/+1. And then the Aganosaur Rex is a 5 mana, 8/8. Trample cycling for 2 and a green. And when you cycle this card, put 2 1/1 counters on up to 1 creature or vehicle. It gains trample and indestructible until end of turn. Which I just realized that doesn't say you control. So you could definitely use that to kill someone else. Because cycling is instant speed.
Yep.
Reminds me of Blood Rush.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think they're 2 very good dinosaurs. As your resident dinosaur enjoyer, Gishath player, neither of them make my list. I think they're both very good. I think it's cool to see a dinosaur lord. I think a kind of one target heroic intervention is also really cool in a sense that, like, yeah, it's an 8/8 body for 5, which is great to begin with, or you can use it to kind of protect a creature. But my Gishath list is a little too tight for either of them, but I felt like they're still worth pointing out because we have been seeing a lot more dinosaurs kind of come set by set.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to get better dinosaurs. Like for a long time, it felt like we were just kind of getting dinosaurs that were just big bodies.
Yeah, and they're
And
really
now
filling
we're-
out the kindred type now.
And they're filling out the curve. Like this is a 3 mana and a 5 mana, which is nice to see, as opposed to waiting till 6 or 7 mana for some big boys.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
I don't think I'll ever play it because
Yeah.
I don't have dinosaur deck, but
Very surprised
cool.
to see it in the Death Race
Yeah,
set.
the cycling one that that makes something indestructible is probably the one you'll see in non-dinosaur decks the most.
Yeah.
But still,
Just
like,
as a way to protect probably the commander.
your combo piece or like the commander or something. Yeah.
Just give something indestructible. But they're probably better for limited. I didn't see either of them at pre-release.
But
Granted, I didn't see a lot of green at pre-release.
No.
But I think they're cool. It's nice to see Wizards giving us dinosaur enjoyers more dinosaurs.
Dino love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm talking about a card that should have been at the top of the show, but we're talking about it now in Radiant Lotus. There is a new Lotus, and by God, is it insane. So Radiant Lotus is a 6-mana artifact with tap. Sacrifice 1 or more artifacts. Choose a color. Target player adds 3 mana of the chosen color for each artifact sacrificed this way. Now, we were talking about how you can just accrue all these little tchotchke artifact tokens. Now, what if all of them were a Black Lotus?
yeah,
Dang, what an
You know-
explosive turn you can have.
Yeah, I will say this is not a mana ability, so you can get blown out.
Yeah,
Sure.
sneaky bit of tech
You
on
can
there.
copy it.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it targets a player.
yeah.
You can definitely copy it.
Can copy.
By God, it's just if you need a lot of mana in your artifact decks, you got it.
Yeah.
If you some sort of shenanigans as a game ender, you got it in Radiant Lotus. You got clues sitting around. You got treasure sitting around.
Yeah.
You got like thopters. You got an ornithopter sitting there doing nothing, blocking maybe. But now, what if that ornithopter was 3 mana? You know,
What if all those 2/2 thopters were 3 mana? What if all those treasures were 3 mana?
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, and if you stick the landing, then you got the mana. There's not really anything to respond to once it hits the battlefield. So
Yeah. And there's no shortage
It'll
of
happen.
large and in-charge donkey artifact cards that win you the game on themselves.
Yeah.
Like a Darksteel Citadel or Darksteel Forge, excuse me,
Yep.
Blightsteel Colossus, Darksteel Colossus. You
Yeah.
know?
But very, very niche interaction because it's not a mana ability. It will not interrupt split second. And things of that nature.
And you can't. Yeah, it not being a mana ability is interesting.
It
but
feels like there's more benefits than
yeah.
non-benefits to it being a mana, or it not being a mana ability.
100%
but-
there are ways to break this card with
Oh,
with untappers and infinite mana and copying activated abilities and
yeah. This card's not okay. I think its price tag is probably the reason most people aren't going to see it.
Yep.
Because I'm not sure how many formats will love it, but it'll probably be a chase card just because it's a Lotus.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which feels really common now. Because we got Lotus Ring and Bloomborough. I feel like we've seen a couple different Lotus versions recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're cashing in.
Yeah.
Sure.
Radiant
what was
Lotus,
the
if you can
tag on it?
if you can find it,
What was the price tag on it?
Right now, you can get it as cheap as $26 at the time of recording, or you could get the most expensive version, which is $370.
Oh,
Is that
great.
serialized?
No, I don't think so. I think it's
don't-
just
it's
the
fractured.
pretty
It's
one.
just
I was gonna
Japanese
say, I
text
haven't
fractured
seen any
foil.
serialized cards for this set.
It's just it's only
Just
the
the
Aetherspark.
regular. All right, I'm going to be talking about Full Throttle.
Oh yeah.
You like one combat? How about two?
How about loot?
about three?
How about second combat?
But loot down Chandra's shirt.
Yeah. You like that?
Hey,
Luke's
a
having
lot
a
of
good
us
time
would
in
be
that arc.
A-okay with looting down Chandra's shirt.
True.
Boy, do we have the card for you. Full Throttle, 4 red sorcery. After this main phase, there are 2 additional combat phases. At the beginning of each combat phase this turn, untap all creatures that attacked this turn. The decks that want this, want it. If you're already running an extra combat, you're gonna want this 2 extra combats.
That's 4 combats with
Oh my
Aurelia.
god, yeah.
Yeah.
Insane.
That's yeah.
It's just a really good. This is the first time we've seen this effect, having 2 combats, I believe.
Two additional combats, yeah.
So it's just exciting in that way. It's big and splashy. It's nice and simple. I love me those cards. So I'm gonna put it
copy
in Paco and Haldon.
Yeah.
Aurelia.
I saw somebody say that it should go in, Old Narset. which is disgusting, by the
That's
way.
gross.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's just a good card. You should run it if you like combat. That's it.
Yeah,
Ishan,
pretty
yeah.
simple. My last card is Demonic Junker. 6 and a black for an artifact vehicle with affinity for artifacts. When it enters, for each player, destroy up to 1 target creature that player controls. If a creature you controlled was destroyed this way, put 2 +1/+1 counters on this vehicle, and it is a 4/3 with crew 2. This card relevant because it has affinity for artifacts. In a black artifact deck, this could be 1 mana Flashback Marauder with upside.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
And you get to choose. Like, this is symmetrical Ravenous Chupacabra. This is, like... And if you do it to yourself, the creature when it's crewed gets a little bit bigger, becomes 6/5.
Yeah.
This is better than the 2/2 that Ravenous Chupacabra is.
It's a shoe-in and Imhotep the Stormlord.
Yep.
Mono black battle bots.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's also a pretty rare where you get to choose for each opponent.
Yeah.
It's not an edict.
It's not a
you
flesh bag,
choose.
it's not a plague crafter,
Yeah.
it's not a chupacabra.
So, that's it. I just think the card is cool. I don't think I'm going to jam it, but it's a cool card.
I'll definitely jam it in that single deck.
You can blink it.
You can blink it. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
My next one, I have 2 of them. They're both flavor includes Spikeshell Harrier, which is 4 and a blue for a 4/4 artifact creature robot turtle. When this creature enters, return target creature or vehicle an opponent controls to its owner's hand. If that opponent's speed is greater than each other player's speed, reduce that opponent's speed by 1. This effect can't reduce their speed below 1, which is the Mario Kart blue shell.
Yeah.
Basically, even the art kind of looks like the Mario Kart blue shell, and I think it's just kind of a funny looking card. I think it's cool that they added that effect into like the racing set. And then Country Roads, Take Me Home. It's not a plains, but it enters tapped unless you control a mount or a vehicle. It taps for white. You can pay 1 and a white, tap and sack it to create a 1/1 pilot. I think Country Roads and Rocky Roads are just kind of hilarious land ads. Nice little nods to pop culture in the naming of cards.
Yeah.
Neither of these cards are that good.
I wish Country Roads was a homeward path. Like, I really wish it
Yeah,
was Exhaust
that-
homeward path. But
That would be classic, but
if you got the narrow, you're in blue and your opponents are all playing speed decks.
Yep, you got the Spikeshell Harrier.
Spikeshell Harrier is the only card that reduces speed.
Yep.
yeah, that's very true.
I'm not going to play these cards, but I'm going to look at them and I'm like, heh.
Yeah, that's
And never think about
100%
them again.
I'm not going to spend money on buying these cards. I'm not going to run them in anything, but every single time they pop up on my screen, I go, that's funny. It's cool that they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
That's
Yeah.
it. That's my full thought process with them. It's just nice.
All right, what do you got,
On the
Ryan?
topic of narrow cards, I'm going to talk about Riverchurn Monument. Riverchurn Monument is 1 and a blue for an artifact with an activated ability of 1 and tap any number of target players, each mill 2 cards. And then it has an exhaust ability for 2 blue and tap any number of target players, each mill cards equal to the number of cards in their graveyard. This plus Fleet Swallower is I win the game.
sure.
Forgot about that card.
Yeah, this
Sure
plus Fleet
is.
Swallower is you are dead.
I read
So-
that card yesterday and still
Yep.
forgot about it.
Yep, in your mill deck for all the mill enjoyers out there, this is definitely the kind of reach you want in the late
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
If everyone's, you don't even have to eyeball the count. You don't even have to ask for cards in deck. You just eyeball to see if their graveyard is
taller than
taller
the
than their actual deck. And then just activate Riverchurn Monument. If you're playing Fabricate, you can get this and activate it the same turn it comes in.
Repurposing Bay.
Or you can Repurposing Bay into it. I'm playing it in my the Mind Skinner.
There's
So,
a chance I find a spot for it in the Wise Mothman.
Yeah, just getting mill value. If you care about self mill, I don't know if you're targeting yourself with it, but you can still
That
do
could
that.
be kind of cracked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's
double
like
your
a
blade.
It does cost mana, and you
Yeah.
have cards like the tap mill, like target opponent mills a card. So it's you're definitely playing it 100% for the exhaust cost.
I do think if you're in self mill, you probably still play this card.
Yeah.
And you just don't exhaust on yourself. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
so I think for the Wise Mothman specifically, it could be nice as, like, exhausting is not a sorcery speed. Like, I could swing the Mothman at you and then just double my bin size and get, I don't know, like 14 counters.
yeah.
and
No, that's fair.
just kind of stack them up.
Yeah, so Riverchurn Monument, all of my mill enjoyers out there, we're eating good with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some niche use. All right, so it wouldn't be an Ether Drift set review if we didn't talk about the big boys, the Gearhulk.
We love them.
The Gearhulks.
All right, so we're going to start with a lukewarm one, which is Pyrewood Gearhulk. 2 red, green artifact creature construct 7/7. He's got vigilance, he's got menace. When this creature enters, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain vigilance and menace until end of turn. Damage cannot be prevented this turn. If you got a fog meta, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you can't do the Crater Hoof, and if you can't do the End Raise Forerunners like the big pigs,
Yup.
Yeah.
It's real
then
good
then
limited.
you're on Pyrewood Gearhulk.
I died
Yeah.
3 times to it at pre-release.
And in limited,
I died a lot at
limited-
pre-release.
in limited, all the Gearhulks are insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you're looking to maximize your Crater Hoof, Endrays, Forerunners style effects, then yeah, slap in. It's the most gruel way to end a game.
Maybe it goes in
Yeah.
a Ragadraba deck.
Probably not.
Yeah, if it
Just
if
as,
it
like,
was 7
an
mana,
additional-
maybe.
Yeah. I guess it's sitting at the 6 mana kind of.
tough.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty niche use if you see it. I think there's a lot better overruns.
Yeah,
But
Yeah,
5
and
color
there's not-
constructs is eating this set.
yeah.
All right, what Gearhulk are you talking about, Jake?
I'm talking about the next most mid one, Coalstoke Gearhulk. This is 1 black, red for a 5/4 with Menace and Death Touch. When it enters, put target creature card with mana value 4 or less from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control with a finality counter on it. That creature gains Menace, Death Touch, and Haste. At the beginning of your next end step, exile that creature.
They really don't want you to keep the
Yeah,
creature.
they don't want you to have it. They don't want you to look at it. They want you to put a counter on the art. They want you to just swing with it. That's it.
You're going to get that back.
It's okay. It's kind of
There's
okay.
there's definitely a low to the ground Rakdos Reanimator that can definitely like utilize this card to a disgusting degree, I think.
Yeah.
But is that deck good in Commander or just good in Standard? You know.
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
probably not great. I think, honestly, if I were on this card, I would be looking to steal things from people's bins. I would want to like kill something and then have control.
Yeah, like a
for
like a
that.
Skitherex or something.
Yeah, you can't even get Skittles.
Oh,
Mana value 4 or less.
Would it
Yeah.
be relevant to do it with like a squee?
Fleshbag
Maybe.
Marauders maybe.
Yeah, Fleshy Bee.
Fleshbag
Get
Marauders?
one
Yeah.
Fleshy Bee back.
Get a Plaguecrafter. Get a Chupacabra.
It's not great. I think
Dude,
the
I
big...
think you want ETBs with it.
Oh, for sure.
Because you get the ETB with getting whatever back.
Yeah.
And then it's, okay, now I can just run it into your face. It's going to die anyway. Like, give me 3 free damage.
Yeah.
Leaving
Yeah.
the bin synergies maybe.
Yeah.
But definitely
it's pretty narrow.
definitely lukewarm on the Gruul and Rakdos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gearhulk.
Menace Death Touch is fun, but
It
it's
is.
just not,
Yeah,
it's not
it's
impactful.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got, Alex?
I called dibs, so I got the best Gearhulk. I have Brightglass Gearhulk, green, white, 4/4, first strike, trample. When this
Insane
creature enters, you may search your library for up to 2 artifact, creature, and/or enchantment cards with mana value 1 or less. Reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle.
So many things.
On that note,
So
we came
many.
up with a list when we first saw it. This finds Skull Clamp, Carrion Feeder, Gravecrawler, Soul Ring, Hardened Scales, the Ozolith, Urza's Saga, the Artifact Lands, because they are 1 or less. Authority of the Consuls, Esper Sentinel, Land Tax and Burgeoning, Sensei's Divining Top, Basilisk Collar, Amulet of Vigor, Shadow Spear, Mother of Runes, and other Rune Givers, Sigarda's Aid and Colossus Hammer, Viscera Seer, Stone
love
Coil
that
Serpent,
one.
Concordant Crossroads. You can find so many things
Just cracked.
with this card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it fits into kind of your ideal Blink deck colors,
Oh, 100%.
just to
Yeah.
keep going back for more.
Misses blue a little bit, but it's got white.
Yeah, but there's also
If you're running
was it
Band Blink, you're
Band-
eating with these two
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Gearhulks.
real.
like it's just cracked.
Yeah, that card's crazy. I don't
It's
think you have to
insane.
bend over backwards for it.
No.
And if,
And it's-
You have cards in if you're like include Brightglass Gearhulk and you're running Esper Sentinel and Soul Ring, you have two things you're gonna find every game.
Yep.
And it is the single cheapest Gearhulk, including the old cycle of them.
yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah,
I
4
think this
mana.
card is so good.
It's beyond its like power
Yeah.
level. It is crazy.
Downside is it's Selesnya, so I'll never play it.
But those are like the
Yeah.
two best colors.
Yeah.
All right, so I have the second best Gearhulk. No shade to Oildeep, but it's definitely a constructed card. It's a Vendilion
Yeah.
Clique. If you're running fairies, it's a fairy that's not a fairy. But I'm talking about Riptide Gearhulk. Riptide Gearhulk is 1 white, white, blue, blue for a construct with double strike and prowess. Oh, mama.
Yeah, holy crap.
When this creature enters, for each opponent, put up to 1 target non-land permanent that player controls into its owner's library, third from the top. You want to talk about blank targets that make the game miserable?
Yeah.
Oh boy, you want to? I'm blinking it. I'm stacking your draws, and I'm getting rid of all of your stuff, so you have to draw it again and play it. This card is disgusting, and it's a threat. It has double strike and prowess, so
Double Strike Prowess is an insane stat line.
yeah.
Best keyword combination.
Yeah.
in
double
the
strike. It's a
sets.
2/5, so it blocks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
Yeah.
insane.
It's I don't know. This is probably my number one Gearhulk, even though I
agree
concede
with
that
you.
even
I
though I
like
concede that Brightglass Gearhulk is probably the one I'm going to play more. But
Yeah.
this is my favorite, and oh my god, the disgusting amount of things you can do with this deck.
The art for this Gearhulk is the best of any of them,
The full
especially
art.
the showcase art.
Yeah, the full art
is
showcase.
gorgeous.
Yeah, definitely Gundam vibes. Definitely
Look it up.
giant
It's beautiful.
robot Gundam vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they see it on the screen now.
Yeah, they do.
It's great. I think
Yeah, I
this
love it.
this Gearhulk makes me want to play Brago Blink.
Yeah, it ignited my Nico, the Last Hope, or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What's his
think-
name?
I
Yeah,
think-
Light of Hope.
I think like showing people that like Blink is a very it's like it doesn't look scary, but it is probably like a top 10, top 5 archetype in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah, I think my personal issue with Blink is it feels very solitaire.
But that's the
it
best
can
part.
be.
But that's the best part, Alex.
Then go play solitaire.
You don't have to
Go
worry
play
about what, you don't
Commander.
have to worry about what your opponents are doing. You just have to keep drawing cards off your spirited companions.
Then you play solitaire. The rest of us will play Commander at the table.
Yeah, so I think Riptide Gearhulk is even if you're not in a Blink deck and just a generic
Yeah.
blue-white deck, I think just
The
playing this
value
card
off
for
of it's
value
insane.
is insane. You can tuck a combo piece. You can tuck their commander and send it back to the zone. It says non-land permanent, so you can get whatever.
Yeah.
It's 3 unsummons, but better.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about the last one. We got Oildeep Gearhulk, blue, blue, black, black, artifact creature construct, 4/4, lifelink and ward 1.
On a Dimir card is insane.
When this
Yeah.
creature enters, look at the at target player's hand. You may choose a card from it. If you do, that player discards that card, then draws a card.
Yeah, so Vendilion Clique text.
I think it's crazy to go from the 2 Gearhulks we just went to
Yeah.
this one for
Yeah.
multiple reasons, obviously. But one of them is the keyword combination on the other two makes so much sense. They interact interestingly together.
Yeah.
They build off each other. But lifelink ward one is
yeah.
crazy.
Definitely,
Yeah.
this is definitely a standard card. This is a
not for
constructed
us.
card.
Yeah.
It's not for
not a
I mean,
commander
if you want to get real crazy with the sauce, target yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean with the
Yeah.
with the
Cycle
Gearhulk
itself.
trigger? Yeah, yeah.
With a body.
But that's the most you're gonna do with it. I mean, granted, if you're in a pinch and
It's
you
not
need,
exciting.
yeah, there's definitely. I mean, yeah, it's for blue black. There's so many different types of ways you can do this sort of thing.
You know, I think for this to have been commander playable, I think it needed flash.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think
Yeah.
if you could
Clique, yeah.
if you could click somebody in response to a tutor,
Yeah.
Lifelink Flash would have been a
Cool.
pretty clean pair.
Yeah, I would've
Because
liked
then,
that.
but lifelink flash would have made it the best blocker in standard, more than likely.
oh,
Yeah,
easily.
would have
Yeah.
would have
Absolutely.
destroyed
Would've
that
been
format.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if it was each player.
Yeah,
The
Yeah.
target player is pretty damning.
it sure is.
Yeah, each player probably would have seen some sort of play in like a Turgid list or like a blue-black kind of like steal your stuff sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have been tough for it to be each player just with how long it would have made that turn.
The resolution, yeah.
The resolution of that would have taken quite some time.
I think this Gearhulk cycle is
Ah.
cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
It's cool. Definitely.
They're so pretty,
check out maybe
as Gearhulks
like
tend to be.
check out with your play group. Maybe like there are 10 Gearhulks now, so maybe like run like Gearhulks as your commander. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. There's a lot of build arounds. There's a lot of cool stuff. The old Gearhulks too. So
Hey, maybe we do it at some point.
True. No.
There's also a cycle of vanilla creatures in each color combination that are interestingly costed. They're not really worth talking about, especially not the white one.
that's just a watch wolf. But the of that cycle,
they're cool. They're fun.
The one in
Yeah.
the blue for an 08 seems insane in Phoenix, and that's about it.
The 4-1 for 2 was probably my best card at pre-release. We played 3 rounds. I went 1-6. Things did not go well.
Or he went 03 for normal people.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that one when I got it was over Ryan.
And I went 2-1. So.
And then I lost 6 games after that. But I forced Rakdos because I always play Rakdos at pre-release, and wasn't good, especially if you don't have any of the decent Rakdos cards. Maybe if I had the Coalstoke Gearhulk, might have been better because I just cycled a lot of cards, and that was most of the damage I did.
Oh my god.
All right, let's talk about some potential commanders that we are thinking about building. We're going to start with Jake. What are you building? What are you brewing? What's going on in that head of yours?
Well, this set didn't really have a ton for me. I don't really care about vehicles, and the artifact sub-themes aren't really for me. I also don't really care about energy. So the only thing that caught my eye was the Mendicant core, Guidelight. It is interesting to me because I think the card's art looks cool. I think it's a neat effect. If it didn't lean so heavily or so easily into Voltron, I'd probably build it right away. But it's a cheap start your engines card in Azorius, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of the only way to do that in those colors.
This is like
sure.
Azorius battle bots.
Yeah, it'd
artifact
just be battle
creatures. Azorius
but-
tempered steel deck.
Yeah, also I love making clones of things, so you know, the payoff for max speed being cloning things is
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
kind of enticing, yeah.
Yeah, and the nicest thing about it is it's so early that you drop it turn 2, you start your engines, you don't have to worry about that keyword too much.
Yeah, unless someone's playing Spike Shell Harrier. So
Hey, but you could run Spike Shell Harrier.
It's true. Yeah, you dog other speed decks.
I'm the only fast one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's powerful, I'm sure.
That's about it.
Yeah.
I have already put together a list for Vnwxt Verbose host. I love him. I hate that they gave him a voice. I'm sorry, Wizards, but I just like to imagine he's Vince McMahon or something.
I think of like an Animal Crossing character. Like.
Yeah.
That too. That would be amusing. But I put together basically just Coastal Piracy as a deck. It's a bunch of unblockable little guys. They deal damage, which will increase the speed to draw cards, and that's kind of the goal of the deck. Funnily enough, I opened up a box topper pack and I pulled a Piss Border Vnwxt. So you guys will get to witness him in person. It looks just as Piss Border as it looks in the images.
It does not look.
I thought it would look significantly like more golden since they're foil. They don't.
No.
It's just shiny dehydrated pee.
Can't believe we didn't talk about Piss Border.
Definitely kind of.
Oh, we're talking about Piss Border right now,
But
baby.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
could have been better.
Yeah, for sure.
Vnwxt, interesting card. Love the effect. It's
blue start your engines.
kind of crazy.
Blue Star
Yeah.
Engines.
But also just a really cool design, I think. The fact that it's a blue creature, 0/4, he starts your engines but can't increase your speed. I think that's cute. I think it's fun. I think it's
He's the
thematic.
one I mentioned earlier that like I'm brewing a deck that runs all the raceways. It's him.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, my engines are getting started turn 2.
Yeah.
But if I can start them turn 1 and maybe like ginger brewed in an extra damage
Could be worth
to get to 2 before I even get to him, maybe it's worth it. But just kind of
good.
get him going and double up the card draw seems amusing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. What do you got, Ryan?
Oh, baby. So this deck is already in paper, and I brought it with me. It is Sab-Sunen, Luxa Embodied. Oh, mama.
Frog mother.
Oh,
Yeah, Frog Mom.
good lordy. So Sab-Sunen, Luxa Embodied is 3 green-blue for a 6/6 legendary creature god. It has reach, trample, and indestructible. And Sab-Sunen can't attack or block unless it has an even number of counters on it. And at the beginning of your first main phase, put a +1/+1 counter on Sab-Sunen. Then, if it has an odd number of counters on it, draw 2 cards. Now this deck is a throwback to my Amonkhet homies with Bounty of the Luxa. Instead of adding a Wingding, you draw 2 cards. So
Pretty good.
yeah, so I build Sab-Sunen because I have I don't really have too many Simic decks, and the ability to use cards like Innkeeper's Talent to modify so I can attack and draw 2 cards in the same turn is very tantalizing. Because, but I'm not running a doubling season effects because that keeps Sab-Sunen on even or odd when I want to try to get
Yeah.
both.
That's my favorite part about the card, is
Yeah.
that it kind of like it says, okay, you're going to build a Simic Counters deck, but you're not going to use all the cards that usually
Yeah,
go.
you're not going to use any counter doublers.
And it's really interesting.
Because because I'm using like cards like Innkeeper's Talent that at the beginning of combat put a counter on it. So I can put a counter on Sab-Sunen on my first main phase, make her even or odd, draw 2 cards, and make her attack. And then I can, if it's odd, I can draw 2 cards, and then the same turn I can put an even number of counters on her and attack with her in the same turn.
Yeah.
Get all the value.
Yeah.
Indestructible God, Trampler,
Trampler,
Reacher,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Dies.
Great blocker.
dies.
If one
Curvy.
combat, she goes from a 6/6 to an 8/8. So
Yeah.
if everything
Commander
goes
damage
right,
is real.
Yeah, commander damage, very real.
Yeah, we're not talking about Ketramos today.
True.
That's another god that
Insane.
was released in the
Yeah, he's
set.
nuts.
You've already heard about him, so we don't
Yeah.
have to.
Everyone and their mom has talked about him.
But
and
I
then
like
catch your
Sab-Sunen.
mouse.
Yeah. I still have like 2 more potentials. Hazoret Godseeker, 1 in a red,
Another
indestructible, haste, 5/3, start your engines. 1 tap, target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. And then Hazoret can't attack or block unless you have max speed. Funnily enough, most of my build for Vnwxt probably fits this better because there are a lot of kind of low power creatures.
Little weenies.
But I kind of had a thought along the lines of quick creatures that you can attack like Quietus spike effects to because you're making them unblockable. I thought that would be interesting. Also, why did they make Hazoret right-handed? Bro, lefties for life.
He's been on this for weeks now.
Ever since they showed this art, I've been stuck on that. But then, probably my favorite, just overall legendary creature of the set is Captain Howler Sea Scourge. Sharks, Pirates, 2 blue-red legendary creature Shark Pirate, ward 2 and pay 2 life. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. For each card discarded this way, whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player this turn, you draw a card. He's a 5/4. I've been thinking about this list being more like a cycling list type of deal. I already have a Pirates deck, so maybe that's not where I go with it. But if I do, like, he's already a captain, so it kind of fits. Like, that could be pretty amusing. And there's a lot of Pirates that care about discarding cards.
Monument to Endurance.
Yeah.
Card's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That card's crazy.
Monument to
It is.
You
Endurance
have to
is
block
good.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to. Unless, if they have instant speed, discard effects, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Faithless Looting.
Yeah. If you don't block, you can just be like, okay, this creature gets +10/+10. As I wheel or whatever.
Yeah, there are instant speed wheels in both of those colors, and just kind of like, yeah, so I'm just gonna
Kill you now.
pitch my whole hand, and you'll take an extra 14 damage here.
Yeah. I've thought about building loot. Probably won't, but I've thought about it because,
Because you're the loot guy.
because I like loot. But I've also thought heavily about building Gonti Night Minister. He is a 2 black 3/4. Whenever a player casts a spell they don't own, that player creates a treasure token. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller looks at the top card of that opponent's library and exiles it face down. They may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. Mana of any type can be spent to cast a spell this way. I think he's one of those cards that changes the game. I think he keeps it interesting. And for that reason, I'll probably put him in a deck rather than putting him as the leader.
Yeah.
I think the same thing, but in a negative way.
Yeah, I don't really get that. I think it's, just like giving your opponent's trample or double strike, it encourages them to swing at each other, which I think is good.
Yeah.
Also, very sneaky text on here is mana of any type instead of any color. So you can use color mana.
So you can use your wingdings.
You can use your wingdings on.
Interesting.
Yeah, I haven't seen that much.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's kind of interesting. I think what I'll probably do is build a Rev deck from Foundations and put Gonti in it.
Yeah.
Because giving your opponents card advantage and mana is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to do a quick lightning round where we talk about cards that we are actually going to put in our decks. We're going to walk the walk instead of just talking the talk. So I'll go first. I'm going to put Full Throttle in Paco and Haldon. I mentioned it earlier, they like extra combats because they get extra triggers, and I just profit. I also am thinking about putting the Aetherspark into Paco Haldon because he grows himself.
Yeah.
And more mana and more cards is crazy.
10 mana would be sick.
Plus extra combats on the Aetherspark is pretty crazy there.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the Raceways in Nine Fingers. Definitely Muraganda and probably Amonkhet because she likes to swing.
Just free. War, Painine Life, Menace,
Yeah.
you run Horns of Gamelon, so that's a can of worms.
Yeah, she likes lands. It's a land deck, so.
It's Vorak Battle Horns for those of you wondering at home.
No, it's Horns of Gamelon.
It's the Horns of Gamelon.
Horns of Gamelon.
I'm going to put Stridehanger Automaton in my Tchotchkes deck, so Prosper the Tomebound, and then Teysa Opulent Oligarch for reasons that we already talked about.
Yeah.
And I will be putting Dredger's Insight into Aranis. Not a card I talked about here, but it's, a little self-mill piece, and it gains you a little bit of life. I'm curious how incidental life gain will affect the deck, so it'll be fun to see.
Yeah.
I'm going to put Monument of Endurance, or Monument to Endurance in Rafine, because
That's insane.
crazy. And then going to be putting Count on Luck probably in Dragonhawk, which I don't know if it's been on the channel before, but just some more consistent card draw seems good.
Yeah.
In a red deck, yeah?
Yeah.
And more cards in Exile. Yeah. I have Dune Drifter, which we didn't really mention at all, as well as Brightglass Gearhulk go into my Kolfanor the Last U deck. It has not been featured yet. It's a reanimator that cares about toughness, which I think is really fun and interesting. Dune Drifter is a vehicle X white-black. When it enters, return target artifact or creature with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And then it's a vehicle, so it'll have toughness 3 when it dies if I don't pump it at all, which will let me get something smaller back to my hand. And Brightglass Gearhulk finds a plethora of pieces in that deck.
Yeah.
And then paired with that, I have the Pactdoll Terror for my Agnes deck, just because, hey, you may as well get the value on those treasures coming in too, And
Yes.
just work through them.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I'm running the Speed Demon in Demons, Riverchurn Monument in Mill, and Repurposing Bay in Artifacts. So pretty
Makes sense.
pretty
You're eating.
shoe-in cards, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, yeah, Bellacore, the Mind Skinner, and Emery Lurker of the Lock are those 3 decks, respectively.
This will be coming out on the 21st, so if you are at MagicCon, the 3 of them will be there. Stop by, say hi. They have these cool playmats, so if you're walking by and see one of the orange ones, they will be there. And stop by, say hi. I won't be there. Sorry, guys.
We'll miss you.
I have a wedding to attend.
Yeah.
Not your own.
No,
Yeah.
not my own. But it'll be a good time. Stop by, say hi, play Magic with them.
All right, that's all for today's episode of the Turn Zero podcast. This is our thoughts on Ether Drift and the accompanying Commander decks. We'd love to hear your perspectives. Is there anything we left out or any sleeper hits that you think are enjoyable? If you enjoy our content, please go ahead and watch more videos. Maybe subscribe if you're feeling extra kind. But either way, we'll catch you next time, and we hope that every hand is a snap keep.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.